I'm going to be demoing the pizza. So the first thing you're going to make sure to have done is turn your oven up to 425. And then I like to make individual pizzas. So you're going to make sure that you have 4 pieces of foil and a spoon and some spray. That's basically it. So I've already cut my dough into 4 circles. And these are about 3.5 to 4 ounces each. If you don't want to measure them out, that's fine. You can just eyeball it. It's about this. So it fits in it fits in the palm of my hand. Okay, so as you can see in the first picture, what we're going to do is take our foil and we're going to spray it. And now I'm going to take my dough, and it's a little hard to see from the picture exactly how to make the circle, so I'm going to demo that right now. I'm going to just move my cutting board out of the way. And, okay, so the first thing I always like to do is just start by stretching the dough in my hands. And this dough has been resting for about 2 or 3 hours. If you've just mixed up your dough, then it's going to be a little tight. The gluten, which is the stretchiness of the dough, is going to be tighter. So you definitely want to make sure if you're making the dough at home that you've allowed it to rest. And you can just leave it in the bowl to rest, or you can put it in the refrigerator. So once you have kind of a circle shape, you've kind of loosened it up, I'm going to start pressing my dough out using just my fingertips. Not my whole hand, just my fingertips. And I'm going to start from the center and just gently press out. And then I'm going to rotate my dough. And this is how I like to do it, just rotating and pressing out from the center. And I just keep doing that. Now, if my dough starts to stick to my hands, this is a cool trick. You can just spray your hands with a little bit of this spray. Rub them together. Make sure your hands are clean, of course, and then just continue. So I'm going to keep doing this. Sometimes I like to even keep my left hand down. I'm a righty. And then I just go with my right hand around. And this way, what I'm really trying to do is keep the dough an even thickness. Because, again, the thicker the pizza dough, the longer the bake time. And the more uneven the dough, the more awkward the bake time. Because what's going to start to happen if my dough is uneven is that some of my dough will be ready of 15 minutes and some of it's going to take 20 minutes. So either I'm going to have it very crispy or it's going to be a little doughy in the middle. So this circle is roughly the size I want to go for. Yours may not be as big. It just depends on how thin you've gotten your dough and also how much dough you started with. So this is always fun for the kids to do. I find that the kids they're not always great at keeping it consistent in its thickness, which is totally fine. I just like to come back in and just patch it up a little bit, only because it does affect the baking time and we want to make sure that the pizza is cooked. So this is very, very thin. If you can look from the side, let me see. Like, it's very thin. This way my pizza will bake quickly. Okay, so if you ever get a little hole, a little tear in your dough, you can just take your fingers and kind of like push the sides of the hole together to patch it back up. So once I have this, now I can go back to my recipe card. So now I'm up to this step. I've put it on the foil. Now I'm going to take my sauce and my spices and put them on the dough. So the sauce I'm using is no salt added sauce, but you can use whatever you'd like. And for this, I usually put my sauce just in a container and then we all share. So we can all make our pizzas together. And we share the sauce. That way people who want more sauce can take more. People who want less sauce can take less. And these are really like cool because they're customizable pizzas. Some of my kids actually don't even like sauce, which is totally fine. When you're making individual pizzas, one of the benefits is that you can just kind of do your own thing. So I like to put about, this might even be a little too much sauce. I tend to go a little saucy on my pizza. And then I have my spices all mixed up together here. I'm just going to sprinkle them on top. And I'm using basil, oregano, and a little bit of pepper, but you can use whatever you like. And then again, always pinches of salt because my sauce has no salt added in. So I am going to need just a little bit to bring out the flavor. Not too much because the cheese that I'm putting on also does have some salt in it. Okay, so now this is what I have. I'm up to this step. So now I have spinach, cheese, and garlic. To have a classic pizza, you're going to need the cheese. We're using shredded mozzarella. The spinach and garlic are both optional. If you like those things, they can be really nice additions to your pizza. If you're not a fan, okay. You can also add in other types of vegetables. You can do peppers, you can do olives. You know, it's the great thing about pizza is you can really just adjust it to your own taste. I am putting it on in this order. First, I'm going to do the spinach and then the garlic and last the cheese. I like to have cheese go last. I just feel like it helps to keep everything together. And again, like you can totally manage or adjust how much of all of this you want. So if you want more garlic, you put more. If you want less garlic, you put less. Totally up to you. And it's actually, if you make individual pizzas, it's actually up to each individual chef. And then finally, we're just going to sprinkle on the cheese. And I like to make sure that I cover up the sauce. If you do not cover up the sauce on your pizza, you may end up with some kind of burnt. It's not burnt. The sauce will just get a little darker anywhere it's exposed in the oven. It's not going to affect anything, just how it looks. And okay, now that I have my pizza basically ready, I'm going to put it in the oven for 15 minutes. Again, this 15 is based on a lot of things. Number one, how hot your oven actually gets. And then number two is how thin your pizza is. So 15 is when you should check on it. If it doesn't look ready, the crust is not fully brown, or the cheese isn't melted, then you can add on another 5 minutes. I'd say probably with this size pizza, 15 to 20 minutes is what we're going for. And the trick that I like to do when I'm baking is not to put the foil in the oven directly. That can get very messy. So I have a sheet pan right here, like a regular cookie pan, and I'm gonna flip it upside down. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna slide my pizza onto my pan, just like this. Okay, so now what I have is, now I have this pizza on the back of just like a regular cookie tray. I'm gonna put the tray in the oven, and not only is this easier to maneuver than just a piece of foil with some flimsy pizza on it, but it also helps make the bottom of my pizza nice and crispy. So this is gonna go in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. So I'm just pulling my pizza out of the oven. I'm just gonna take it off the pan. It's very easy to transfer now because it's firmed up on the bottom. So this is what it's gonna look like when it's done. The cheese is gonna be melted, and around the edges you have this brown color, and then you should be able to lift it up in one piece. It's a little hot, but there we go. So that's what you're looking for when your pizza is all set.